the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Come on, right?
Are you in need of new or gently used clothing? Hope's Community Closet is here to help. We offer a wide range of clothing for men, women, youth, children, and infants. Join us on the fourth Saturday of each month from 12:30 to 4 at the Silent Task Force. We're giving clothing with care, community with heart. Lovely Ladies Lemonade for sale, and shop to the sound of old school soul. Any questions? Contact Alicia Kennedy, Executive Director of Women United at 206-316-7601. 206-316-7601. Come and find the perfect outfit for you and your family. We look forward to seeing you there.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This is Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update.
Welcome to the bi-weekly slice of unfortunately, that's why I never became a DJ, although I can probably do check 1 2 1 2. Anyway, my name is Cliff. You are listening to the Unmasked Agenda, your bi-weekly slice of commentary, analysis, and fun. So, this is my co-host,
Tony. Here at the Unmasked Agenda, Cliff and I aim to bring you conversation and commentary on our political moment through the lens of popular culture when we get a chance to. But this episode, you should probably talk about the most recent election.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to go heavy on the politics this time.
And we should introduce our guest that's here right now to help us navigate that.
It's former Seattle City Council member Lisa Herbold. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for including me.
Wow. You know what? First of all, I got to say the mics that Rainier Avenue Radio have are unparalleled because I can hear all of us right now, and it's kind of amazing. Just crisp surround sound.
I appreciate that.
Right? So anyway, we'll also have some other guests joining us throughout the night. And wow. So we have quite the sea change. I guess in political science we call it a cultural shift.
Yeah.
Mayor Wilson.
Progressive sweep.
I know, right? Up from sea to shining sea. And I am still digesting it. We did a post-election debrief with another host here at Rainier Avenue Radio, Juan Cotto. Shout out to you, Juan, for your work and inviting us to participate in the show. Previously, by us, I mean myself representing us here at the Unmasked Agenda, but also we're going to have a chance to build on that conversation. But let's just start at a very basic level. So, Lisa, if you were to describe the craziness of the past, I don't know what's been like 7 months, 8 months, a year?
The length of the campaign season?
Yeah, it feels like a year.
All right.
Yeah.
Do it.
Right. Like, how would you even describe that, like in a sentence or encapsulate all this?
Well, I mean, again, I think what we've seen over the course of the campaign, not just the mayoral campaign, but the city council races and the city attorney's race, is those candidates who prevailed last Tuesday working really hard to get out their message for how they'd like to govern, how they'd like to be responsive to the public's call for more fair affordability, more fairness in governance, while not sacrificing good government. And we've seen them getting that message out, and we've heard from the voters that they don't want the status quo, and they want more action, more change.
Right. So just before you dive into the next question, Tony, I just want to kind of follow up on that, because we saw a call for change across the country. People are all fed up with the federal government enough said. They're fed up with the kind of inequality we see in our communities. And, the last administration, we saw this sweep towards the center, before this in the last big municipal election cycle. And I'm wondering, is this kind of motion normal in your experience?
Yeah, I think of politics and how it's manifested to us and how we experience it as a pendulum, right? Mm-hmm. And my hope always is when that pendulum, when it sweeps to the right sometimes in reaction to things that are happening, but my hope is always that when it swings back to the left, that it gets us just one step closer to a more just society. And I think I really believe that will happen with this new slate of electeds. I really I think the general public has done a great job over the last couple years of making sure that the centrist electeds at city government right now did not take away some of the gains of the very progressive city council that governed up until 2021 and up through 2023 with some of us still around. We haven't lost ground. Was really worried on some of the things that I worked on a lot that we were going to, particularly around gig workers' rights and tenant rights. But because of the advocacy of the public, we've held strong. We haven't rolled back those things. And I think we're just going to get further along on workers' rights and tenants' rights and good governance and progressive taxation with this new crop.
People's Republic of Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just being about more fairness, more justice, and making sure our government works for more people. We want people to have faith in their government, and they're not going to until it's working.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think maybe we kind of have been hovering around this particular subject for a little bit, but a resounding message that we've heard across the country this past election cycle is that cost of living crisis is still holding us hostage. And folks just want anyone to do something about it. If I had to have one uniting theme, I think that unites the elections in New York and Seattle. It's this is the get caught trying election, right? They want someone that, previously it used to be a liability, right? Especially now that we have local politics being kind of shadowed by national politics, right? This notion that some voters are the lefts are scolds and they go too far. And yet these problems that we've been trying to work on all these years continue to persist. And so now they're coming back to the left. What do you think, given that context, that the new city council members and Mayor-elect Katie Wilson would need to do to deliver on making Seattle more affordable and just a lot better for living, for its citizens?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to, build more housing, and not just build more housing generally, but build more affordable housing. I think we need to. I mean, we're lucky in that we have these incredibly successful housing levies. Cliff, you know that,
Oh, yes.
you've seen that work.
I know that very.
And it's across the spectrum from renter housing to affordable renter housing to permanent supportive housing for people who are formerly homeless to homeownership opportunities. We've done a great job in meeting our housing levy commitments, but there has been a thirst for the city to do even more. And I think the commitment that Mayor-elect Wilson, I love saying that.
They're Katie Wilson.
I think her commitment to the social housing program is potentially a game changer. She's not afraid to try something new. I know it's a external quasi-governmental entity external to the city, but in order for it to succeed, it really it needs the city's help. And that is one of the things that really makes me excited about it, is the idea of not just building more housing, but building more mission-based housing. And even market rate housing can be mission-based housing. And we need to do more of that so that those mission-based housing developers can be competitive for land with the market-based, profit-based housing providers. And I think the more entities that we have doing that, the more we're going to be able to have a laser focus on the kinds of housing that people need, as opposed to the kinds of housing that is getting built by the market, which is largely luxury housing that is pricing people out. It's why we have folks who are so upset, rightfully so, about displacement and gentrification in our communities. We need to make our neighborhoods work for everybody.
And, just something I just want to say to build on that, and I'll just rip off the Band-Aid this, but our audience may not know this. I was on the board for like a minute, and I have my own public critiques of particularly some staffing, social housing developer, but I'm still really supportive of it. And something you said that I think when we think about like a housing ecosystem, a lot of folks don't consider is that it's not just a matter of we don't build more affordable housing because evil, government doesn't want to, right? It's not like, think about it later. It's like, no, there's buying land, there's construction materials, there's making sure we're paying. I think that's just a onlooker. Sorry. So just like some of those really fancy news shows in New York City, sometimes we get folks looking at
yes.
Right? It's like, but anyway, that what you said about the leveraging those market forces in order to support affordable housing is so very true. And I think for a lot of voters and a lot of people who are looking at the social housing model with skepticism, that they don't realize that this model is tried and tested throughout the world. Right?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we talk about best practices, and housing development is a continuum, right? I mean, I just said a moment ago, we have home ownership development, we've got market rate development, we've got low income development, we have permanent supportive housing, we have assisted, we have more of a new version of shelter than the mats on the floor. Like we have this continuum because every person has a different need, and you have to develop that continuum across it, and like every little niche, and that's how you make that system work better for more people.
Absolutely.
And I've always been, I was one of the founding board members, and I'm a huge supporter when I was on the council of the Homestead Community Land Trust.
Yes.
I mean, the more that's another reason why I'm really passionate about the social housing. It's about taking land off of the speculative market, land that otherwise would be going to the kinds of housing development that is most available to the folks who can pay the most, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so the more that we can have actors in housing development who are doing this work, taking this land off of the speculative market, becoming more competitive in being able, because they're supported by public dollars, and being able to buy this land, I think we will have a more healthy housing ecosystem.
Have you heard anything by any of the incoming council members or even Mayor-elect Wilson that that hopefully will get us to that point?
Well, I mean, I think again, the support for the social housing initiative is about that, right? It is about supporting more actors that are mission-based in the development continuum.
So one of the interesting things that's kind of kicking around some folks in Olympia, and we've worked together on housing stuff before, and So I'm really interested in your perspective of this, but with the social housing, social housing developer being a big part of Mayor Wilson's plans, and also you have the competitive funding through the Seattle Housing Levy, as well as other sources of funding, of course, like market rate developers, like fulfilling that kind of luxury housing, like more expensive niche. I'm wondering, so for land banking, how do you think that can fit into the toolbox isn't the right word, but the framework, if you will.
I mean, we do it for open space,
right?
right? We have pieces. The city has dozens and dozens of pieces of property that they're land banking for future parks development. They're holding on to it. They know they don't have the funds right now to develop it, or to funds to develop the park that is envisioned, or funds to operate the park once it is developed. And so pieces of property are sort of in a queue, and as funds become available, those parks become a reality. And there's no reason to not do that for housing as well.
Exactly. Like the land speculation is insane when it comes to actually one of the big reasons a lot of folks don't really think of when it comes to why housing costs so much. You have the structure on top of it, but that land, and actually it's funny, I was just I think I was presenting in my professional life in front of folks at Homestead about this, but a lot of the state level programs try to address that fluctuating cost of land, especially in tight markets like Seattle, because we can't make more land, right?
And that's the benefit of land banking. You don't buy it on the cheap here, but it is going to be less expensive to buy it today than it is going to be tomorrow. So.
And also, shout out to the Seattle Office of Housing. The Rainier Valley, I'm about to get in trouble because I forget the entire name, but the Affordable Home Ownership Initiative. So right along MLK, Habitat for Humanity, African Community Housing Development are actually building affordable home ownership units literally less than a mile away from where we're recording this right now on Rainier Avenue Radio, where people are going to be able to buy condoized units to really start building not just financial, monetary equity, but an actual community stabilizer. I used to live on MLK, and I am happy for them, but I'm not gonna lie, little jets, but it's all for the good. So just kind of going back to the analysis of this race, because we can talk about housing all night, probably come back
totally geek out on
it. Right. So in the post-election debrief, and actually, this would be a really interesting question for you because you represented West Seattle. So I'm curious as to whether or not you agree with this framework that one of the guests laid out, which he looked at from the perspective of you have the 7th congressional district, which includes West Seattle, North Seattle, the north and some southwestern suburbs, but particularly concerning the Seattle parts of the 7th versus the 9th congressional district, which is the CD, little slice of Capitol Hill in South Seattle, and he laid out, which I have to look at the numbers because I don't know if I necessarily think the numbers are quite accurate, but in the 7th it went I think 58% for Herbold. In the 9th went majority for Katie Wilson. So I'm kind of curious as to whether you think that is more of an apt way to look at the voting breakdown, or if there's another map or another way that you're analyzing.
I haven't seen the general election numbers, but I did see the primary numbers, and they look a whole lot like mine in 2015 and 2019 for my district, which is that the View property went, for my opponents both times, whereas the lower income neighborhoods largely went for me. Now, and it was like that all over the city in the primary for Katie. Like a lot of the lower income neighborhoods were supporting her, whereas and the moderate income neighborhoods, but it was really those view properties around the city on the coastlines that really came out for Mayor Herbold. So, you know, I haven't looked at it as a comparison to congressional districts. I think the typical way usually to do this sort of analysis is do a precinct by precinct breakdown, because that way you don't make sort of gross generalizations about what the data is telling you. You're getting more granular, and by getting more granular, you learn more about who's supporting you.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the, and I think that's why I winced a little bit when I heard that. And also, I just got to point out, it's kind of funny that the kind of coastline, you know, the homes with a view were the most, like, I'll just say it, the most conservative voting, especially since they're, at least anecdotally, I hear those are usually the neighborhoods where they always complain to the city. It's like, why can't I chop down this tree? So I just find it kind of funny irony. It's like, so you are annoyed by the status quo, yet you want to go with the status quo because the person talking about affordability scares you. But that's just me being petty, I guess. But one of the other breakdowns I heard was the essentially long-time homeowners, those long-time residents, versus kind of younger residents, people who haven't lived here all their lives. I know, Tony, you and I have been here for a decade. I don't know how you voted. If I could have voted, I definitely would have voted for Katie Wilson. But
you can guess.
Yeah. There we go. That's right. You'll leave me hanging. Come on. There you go. He's like, I see you every day when you come to the store. Come on. But yeah, like, do you think that breakdown is apt? The kind of newbies versus
Yeah, there was definitely an age demographic, younger people supporting Mayor-elect Wilson for sure. Like the numbers really were stark. Looking at you know, I like to I think it changed at 50. At 50, it became more than half of voters started, and then every decade that they cut the data, a higher percentage would be supporting Mayor Herbold. So, but at 50 and under, it was more than 50%. I mean, there's just no disputing that, and that's what we see happening across the country. It's it's what happened in New York too. And I think that's so exciting, right? I mean, one of the things that we talk about with our frustration, in elections in different jurisdictions, at different levels of government, is we need younger people who are running for office. Absolutely. And people complain about not having a good bench to select from. Right. And how do you develop a good bench? How do you, right? Mayor-elect Wilson today, governor in 8 years, right? I mean, like that's how you do it, right? That's how people who know how to lead, know how to govern, are good public policy wonks. I mean, that's one of the things I love most about Mayor-elect Wilson is she gets into the details, and she's also really committed to the idea of listening to city employees, and listening and learning from their own deeply developed expertise, whether or not you're talking about the transportation department or the Office of Housing, or name any department. Like she wants to empower them, which I think is really, to me, it resonates with also the electoral analysis, which is about empowering young leaders. Like, I mean, you want people who have policy expertise, who are making recommendations to people who are the deciders, and we want deciders who people can get excited about. about, the deciders who have new ideas.
Yeah.
And that the public, and again, Katie's she's an organizer, right? So so she knows how to keep the public informed, engaged, and energized.
Yep, literally the first time I met Katie, we were both at City Hall. I forget what campaign or what particular hearing it was for. She was sitting there with a laptop, bright yellow, like Transit Riders Union shirt. This was like way back in 2014. And we just talked for a little bit, about the issues, both of us from upstate New York, like yourself. Yeah, we're out here. Basically, she has always led with that coalition mindset. And I've also admired that about her. So I'm, before we kick it back to you, Tony, I'm wondering, so she gave a speech earlier today. I thought it was a really smart speech. It wasn't like, yay, I won. So it wasn't one with braggadocio. It was more one in which she said, just basically work with me. If you didn't vote for me, that's okay. Here's my dream. Here's my vision. I want to build a coalition with you to, move this. So, and I know we're almost at the break time, but just really quick, I'm wondering, do you see, who are some, just like a couple of those key people that you see necessary to bring to the table to make that work?
Yeah, absolutely. And she's been real clear. She wants to be everybody's mayor, right? She intends to be everybody's mayor. She is going to govern that way. She's not going to be somebody who, only takes calls from people who supported her.
Right.
But she does have a challenge, right? She does have a challenge. She does need to, develop relationships with people who might be perceived as the status quo. I think she needs to appeal to the shared interests that everybody has, hopefully, in making this a better city. And I think she's, she has already said that, she wants to work with the business community. She's got good, strong relationships with the small business community already, but, the downtown big players and I think she's going to be really compelling in creating a dynamic where, like we've seen before with past progressive mayors, I believe she's going to create a dynamic where her success is going to be their success. And I think that's the key. Like, you bring people in and you work with folks on the things that you agree on. The things that you disagree on become less important, and we bind our destinies with one another. And I think we can do that. I really do. I think there are people that I clash with in my time as an elected official, but I believe that even among those folks, they still want a good city. They still they understand that our diversity in our city is one of our strengths, whether or not you're talking about the arts and culture scene or our small businesses.
Right.
Like, we can't just support one side of the city. We have to support, because that's what makes this is an exciting place to live and work and visit.
Right, exactly. So, first of all, thank you for those very quotable lines. And we are going to go to a break now. Also, I wanted to shout out on this Saturday, November 15th, Parliament Funkadelic tribute band. Yes, the mothership is coming home, y'all, here at Columbia City Theater. I would love to make this, but I encourage everyone else to make it as well. Well, you guys can't see this on the screen. But anyway, we'll be right back. You are currently listening to Rainier Avenue Radio. We're here with our esteemed guest, former Councilmember Lisa Herbold. And also we will have some other guests joining us right after the break. Thank you.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Are your kids eligible for or enrolled in Apple Health Medicaid insurance? Bring them to a free dental clinic in Skyway this fall. Public Health Seattle and King County is hosting free dental clinics for kids 12 and under at the Skyway Resource Center one Saturday per month, now until December. Visit kingcounty.gov/ABCD for more information. Again, that's kingcounty.gov/ABCD for free dental clinics for kids.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio, download the app so you don't miss out what's popping with Crackers Shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all, a lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Totally bored? Mindlessly scrolling? Put down your phone and pick up a free youth transit pass. Youth 18 and younger ride for free. Go all the places. Do all the things. Escape the scroll at freeyouthtransitpass.com.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Hello, everyone. This is the Unmasked Agenda here on Rainier Avenue Radio. You are watching your bi-weekly commentary of political analysis, wrapped in a lovely blanket of pop culture, and of course, we like. Oh my God! Okay. Hey, it's not a party without some interesting feedback from the stereo. Anyway, hopefully our next guest that we're going to introduce to join us on the panel, hopefully your ears were not blown out. Dr. Lucas, are you with us?
Yes, I can hear you just a little bit, but I can hear you.
Okay, cool. And in that case, our illustrious producer will work on making sure getting the sound just right for you. But anyway, for folks tuning in, we are here with former Councilmember Lisa Herbold, and also we are happy to be joined by the talented, brilliant, and well-tenured Dr. Carl Livingston from Seattle Central Community College, someone whom has definitely influenced many of the people that voted in this last election. Sir, how are you?
I'm really good, and it's so good to be on this podcast. It's good to see my friend Cliff, and I've followed the good work of Lisa, and so I'm just really happy to be joining you and your viewers.
Absolutely. And also, I don't know if we formally introduced you to my illustrious co-host, Tony, Doctor, but so he'll be diving in right after I ask you one of the.
So real quick. I don't think Lisa and I can hear Dr. Livingston. We might need.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, can you? Okay, sorry, doctor. Just
Actually, Daniel, could we get like headphones?
You could work around.
Yeah. Sorry, doctor. We are currently having technical difficulties. Hold on. All right. You with us, doctor?
I am, and that's the good thing about live work, that it's live, it's real, and your viewers know it. So,
right, exactly, and now they can hear you. Perfect. Okay, and also the great thing is at the end of the year we have plenty of material for blooper reels, so that's perfect. May as well like put this out in like Blu-ray. Talking about trying to fund more amazing content. I hate the word content, but more amazing commentary and fun like this. So, Doctor, this has been one hell of an election season. What is a statement or just something you would say to characterize this entire election season? Let's just start there.
well, I think Reed Epstein with the New York Times captured it best. And what he said is that the results served as a rebuke of President Trump and the Republican MAGA party, and a salve for Democrats who've not had many good nights in the last year. Now, that's what he said. And I think that's fair, that it is a rebuke, and it's also a little pick-me-up to Democrats to let them know that Donald Trump is not unbeatable. Things can change.
Absolutely. And, just something I want to build on that before I kick it over to my co-host. The interesting thing about that is before, Zohran Mamdani's win in New York and Mayor-elect Katie Wilson, God, that gives me chills. Mayor-elect Katie Wilson's victory here in Seattle, there weren't a lot of there was a major divide between established Democrats and, say, more progressive Democrats like Representative Jayapal that at first endorsed Mayor Herbold, and then later on did a dual endorsement with Katie Wilson, now mayor-elect, right? So do you think the Democratic Party has effectively received that message that's coming from the voters?
Yeah, I think the Democratic Party moderates have, and they got to figure out what to do. That's going to be the challenge, because it's not going to just be a matter of promising a couple of positions to the farther left-wing portion of their party. The Democratic Socialists want more than that. They want substance. They want real leadership, and it's not going to be easy for them to work this out. I think they're going to have to move to the left a little bit, and that's going to make it even tougher to win in a general election with the country the way it is. But it's still winnable. Just not going to make it as easy.
Right.
I think on that subject, and before I ask, one of my questions I have listed here, do you not? How do I phrase this? Fear that perhaps some Democrats, some centrist Democrats, have the ability to maybe snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, particularly with how they handled, the shutdown most recently. Polling has showed that the public was with the Democrats. They blamed the president and the Republican Party for the shutdown and for doubling down on human suffering during that time, right? These conservatives are in control of all branches of the government, and they decided no, we would rather not end the shutdown and give people their healthcare subsidies. We would just rather let them suffer. A court tells them hey, you need to fund SNAP, and they're like, nah. Right? And so what do the Democrats do? They go and say like, oh yeah, no, the human suffering is bad. Yes, it's bad. That's the point. But you not fear that like, the Republicans will get themselves into this position and the Democrats will come and clean up after them, in such a way that does not help, move us forward.
Well, it's quite possible. People have criticized the Democrats in the past for kind of folding or not taking advantage of their momentum or just not being bold enough when their opportunities for leadership come to really move, to have more than a moment, to have a full movement that looks like what happened in the 50s to the 60s, especially the 60s. And before that, even the 40s, when it looked like there was just a Democratic wave and the concern was on the Republican side. Maybe they're folding up. And so we will see. But I can just say that, this time, everything is way more serious.
Right.
And so this may be the last relatively free election, presidential election, the country ever have with what Trump is doing. So as we talk about this, even that, I mean, it's not just a matter of horse race analysis. It's the idea that we've got to do more than root for the Democrats. Our very children and our own political fortunes are at stake this time. And so the Democrats have to win.
So back to my prepared question, actually, of getting back to the most recent election here in Seattle. As of today, Katie Wilson is our mayor-elect. I'm going to keep saying it because I know Cliff is really into this. We're all really into this, but I know like Cliff in particular is really excited. Mayor-elect Wilson is unseating Bruce Herbold. And, for a few days last week, the margin seemed really close enough to trigger almost an automatic recount, particularly given the urgency of a ballot curing for both campaigns. I guess just in retrospect, has there ever been a precedent for a Seattle mayor's race with margins this close?
Oh, such a good question. And I'm just not so sure about that. I haven't seen a margin this close in at least since the time I've been teaching political science at Seattle Central, and I started in 1990. Yeah, this one was really, really close. And it's interesting that it was close. It was this close because it's an off-year election. You know that we have off-year elections, we have midterm elections, and we have presidential election years. And we have the highest turnout in a presidential election year. And that's when we have the greatest chance for a real powerful left-wing move. Well, this was the off-year election in which it's the hardest to have a farther left-wing move, and yet we had it. So, that's got to mean something. That's got to say something. And this was her first time winning electoral office. So she had the cards stacked against her, and yet she pulled out a big-time victory. But still, yes, it was razor thin.
Yeah, I think we were getting to this a little bit earlier in like the first half of the show, but I mean, first of all, personally, I think it's very exciting that particularly given the age demographics that showed up for Mayor-elect Wilson, that's really like great news. It's really promising. Young people are getting out there and exercising their franchise, which is fantastic. But because these margins are so close, I think it does, and I see this kind of in my life as well with older folks. There is definitely a constituency for Mayor Herbold. So I mean, do you see like this being like posing any like kind of potential issues for Mayor-elect Wilson, going into her term, having to, I'm not sure if placate is the right word, but basically like play with the other constituency that's there for, a Mayor Harrell.
Mayor Wilson is going to have to hit the ground running and really figure out how to win as many supporters of her policy and her challenges that some of the things she wants to do, we don't have much of a precedence for here. And there's not a lot of precedence for it nationally. But she's going to have to figure it out and be successful. And she's going to have some pushback. The existing bureaucracy is going to give her pushback. The police and some of the other much more institutional portions of our government specifically are going to give her pushback on some of the reforms. And if she does something like, let's say, provide free transportation, or if she tries to, I think housing was even more important for her. If she tries to do it in a way that's going to greatly increase taxes, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to really be a challenge to push it through and make it successful. And if it looks like she faltered, the Bruce Harrell, his supporters, his wave could come back to win if he wants it again, and I think he does. So it is just not going to be easy for her, and yet she could do it. She could do it because this was an off-year election. And it suggests that there is way more support for a farther left-wing candidate in major cities in this country, not just in places like San Francisco and Seattle, but now we see even in a place like New York.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to monopolize like all the questions asking right now. So Lisa, do you have a?
Well, I just wanted, when we were talking about turnout, I wanted to lift up, right, because the turnout this year is very similar to a presidential election year turnout. Yeah. And that we can point to the excitement about the candidate, the excitement about the issues of affordability, but we also need to give a lot of props to the approach to campaigning, which is very much the approach that somebody with expertise as a grassroots organizer will use. And not just that she herself used, but that she brought in partners like the Working Families Party to come in and be on the ground and assist with that ground game, which is so incredibly important. And again, if she is going to use those same tools that she has used as an advocate, that she's now used as a successful candidate, she's going to use those same tools to govern. I think we're going to see great things.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? I will say, I'll take a point of personal privilege to say that I am really happy. So I've been a Working Families Party member since I was a kid, since 2004. And, I helped start up the branch here in King County. And to see the WFP be that intimately involved in not just in, by the way, Dr. Livingston, you're still with us, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, saw a glitch, just want to make sure. But our producer's on it. Thanks, Daniel. That being said, I'm just so happy to see the WFP grow, particularly in Washington State, and how that has come to represent a third force even in national politics. And there was a really good article in the Seattle Times that Naomi Ishishaka did in order to highlight the WFP. But I wonder, do you think that like moving forward, groups like the Working Families Party or the Transit Riders Union are going to become that like institutional left in Seattle politics versus a more kind of like business friendly pillar?
You know, it would be wonderful to see it become more institutional rather than be about a particular individual, right? So that I do think that their playing in this election had a lot to do with who Katie is and what her platform was. And so I think time will tell whether or not it goes beyond a particular candidate, personality. But I just want to say, as excited as I am about sort of the community organizing approach and the potential that community organizing can be brought into City Hall, that we can have sort of like a co-governance model with the public. The other thing I really love about the Working Families Party is that they don't have purity tests. Right? They want to be a big tent. We saw in that piece that you're talking about the words of their leaders saying, you know, if you voted for Trump and now you're hurting, come talk to us. We're not going to say you voted this way or you thought this way once and you're verboten to us now, right? And I just think that's so refreshing. There's been a little bit of buzz the last week about the fact that Mayor-elect Wilson did not get the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA endorsement. You know, and you know, I don't know that if you want to be an institutional player in this city, I don't think their approach to endorsements is one that is long lasting. It's very principled, and I get it. But I think I think we have to think more about how to meet people where they're at always. And again, that's what you do as a community organizer. You don't ask them, did you vote Republican or Democrat?
Right, exactly.
You're like, what is upsetting you now? What do you need now from your government? How can we fix that?
Yeah, because people aren't perfect, right? So, Dr. Wolf, what do you think? Do you think that the role that the Working Families Party had, the role that organization like the Transit Riders Union, et cetera, do you think they are going to become this kind of institutionalized left within Seattle politics and counterbalance to the Amazons and the business community as we were discussing? Or what do you think of this kind of rise of new left within City Hall?
Yeah, well, for me, it's been an education. It's been very, very impressive to see it come together and be such a force and even lead to, I think, a slight increase in voter turnout for an election like this. And I have this feeling that with such a ground game, they might even be able to pick up a couple of more percentage points next time, which makes the job of winning all the more easier. And I haven't seen anything like this since around 2000, when it looked like a majority of Seattle's city council positions were held by people significantly to the left of the average Democratic Party member. And but this time, with the infrastructure in place, it could be sustainable. Now it's going to come down to policy. Now it's going to come down to delivering, and the delivering part is not easy, but they can do it. It could be done. It's going to take some very clever, well thought out policy making and politicking to sell her ideas, put them in place, and make them work. Because at the end of the day, if the policies don't work, no matter what kind of machine you put together, it's likely not to deliver over time.
That's a great lead into
questions. I mean, real quick, this maybe betrays like a very simple theory of politics for me, but I hope that these things become institutional and that, they are not just associated with left politics, but just associated with living in Seattle, right?
Right.
Like, from my home state of Hawaii, we also are suffering from a very large homelessness problem, and a lot of locals being displaced, raising the question for a lot of people back in Hawaii, what's Hawaii when there are no Hawaiians left, right, in Hawaii?
That's real.
But that being said, if we can house people, if we can give them free and fast public transportation, if we have, for example, a working local, what's that policy of hers? The press stipend, I think, funding local journalism.
Independent.
Right.
Media.
Yes.
Yeah. If we can associate that with being this is what it means to live in Seattle, that would be my hope, particularly as someone who's living here now. But Dr. Livingston, you mentioned that, delivering all of these things are going to be difficult. What do you see as the biggest challenges that lie ahead for the Mayor-elect Wilson?
Well, on the policy side, I'm really hoping that she's going to be able to find models that policy models that have already been tried other places in this country. Some just pockets of places, like for instance, when Barack Obama came up with the Affordable Care Act, it helped that he was really working from something that Romney had done in, what was it, Massachusetts? You guys can help me, where Romney had already, say it again?
It was Massachusetts, yeah.
Okay, so what he was doing something at the national level that was avant-garde and very, very new, but he was doing something that had been tried before at the state level, and that's the best way to approach it. It not only helps to sell the idea, but it helps also in putting it in place to make the damn thing work. It's important that these things that they work. And so yeah, hopefully she'll put together the kind of team that does the kind of work that really finds workable models in different communities and hamlets here and there, and then comes back and sells the success of those ideas to us to get people mobilized behind it and give it a chance to work. And you know what? If it works, it doesn't have to work perfectly. If it works, this thing could really be sustainable, man. This could really be a movement that changes electoral politics in this city and maybe later in the country.
Okay, I gotta say that of the shows that we've done since we started this, that both of you have given us very quotable lines. So thank you for that. So I want to kind of close this out because we like to have fun. To find hope in these times, I feel is really important. And a pillar of this, when Tony and I started, I said this is going to be a podcast that focuses on talking about politics and deconstructing things and bringing everything, but we also want to have fun. And both Tony and I are huge comic book nerds and we love film. So just from each of you, I'm wondering, what was your favorite film of 2025? I know it's a very lightning.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, go ahead.
Dark though.
Do it.
I like Blink.
Blink?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Okay. And Dr. Livingston, what about yourself?
I'm going to sound so boring, but I was finishing a book and I didn't go to a movie. I hardly went anywhere. So I'm just glad Lisa's here. That's all I can tell you. I'm just glad Lisa's here.
Oh, thank you.
All right. In that case, Tony, how about yourself?
It's too hard to choose. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
You know, I'm going to be the shill and the cheesy one to end us off. I'm going to say Fantastic Four, First Steps, my favorite. There are many, trust me, Sinners is up there. Sinners is up there. And there's a part of my heart that's like, no, Cliff, say Sinners. Because that was artistry, but also I'm a huge nerd. Yes, I am that fanboy. But with that being said, thank you so much to our esteemed guests for joining us. Thank you so much for your insight. And also thank you, all of you who have been listening at home, for joining us this evening. And we can't wait to be with you again in a couple of weeks. And with that, Tony?
I've been Tony. Aloha kako.
Yep. And, stay righteous and stay courageous and never back down. Anyway, y'all, have a good night.